Hello, hello, hello! So today's video is gonna be another video about making mail, and I'm also gonna throw in a little bit of consumer advice because a lot of people seem to struggle with finding the correct types of mail and such. And I'm making this video because the previous video was pretty well received, well watched as well. So I think I can even do better, and I'll make a bit more an elaborate video. So first, let's look at the different types of mail you can get yourself. First of all, we have button mail. So button mail is a mail you can see a lot in the LARP side of things and with the people that are just starting reenactment. Button mail is very cheap, but it's not that historically accurate for medieval Europe. You do see historical examples from button mail in Japan, in the medieval Japan, and you can see it doesn't have the same pattern as the European mail has. Now, button mail, it doesn't offer a lot of protection, but in LARP it doesn't really, as far as I'm considered, it doesn't really matter if you're wearing button mail or riveted mail. The hit points you gain from wearing such piece of armor are still the same, as far as I know. Now, if you want to be fully protected against a lot of incoming blows or cuts or whatever when you're training for reenactment and such, the button mail, it does a good job at defending against dull swords in most cases, but if you thrust a spear into it, then there's a big chance of the rings opening and your hauberk will have a hole in it, and you don't want that, obviously. So if you want to have the real deal, you have riveted mail. Riveted mail was common throughout the entirety of Europe and actually everywhere where mail was worn instead of Japan and some other Asian countries, I don't know them. But riveted mail, that's really good stuff. That's stuff that will protect you, if it has the right thickness, against cuts, in some degree thrusts. It doesn't protect you at all against blunt force trauma. So in that regard, if you're wearing a mail hauberk and you think, yeah, I'm invincible, well, you're not, because anyone with a baseball bat will get you down. If you solely wear mail, if you wear a hackathon underneath it, then you're still not really fine if someone is swinging a bat at you, but you'll be decently protected. Now, riveted mail knows a bit of variation. You have the mail with the round rivets, which is a very common type of mail. Throughout the entirety of the Middle Ages it was used, even in antiquity it was used. You also have them with wedged rivets. Do look out for these, because they sometimes slip under the radar. Wedged rivets are mostly from the later medieval period, like the 15th century and such. And I believe they were very popular in Germany, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the price between those, well, it's not that much of a price difference, but I do see that most hauberks with wedge rivets are a bit more expensive. It may take for a complete hauberk 50 euros extra or something, so it doesn't sound that much when you're already paying almost 500 euros, but do note the difference. Now, to get yourself started on a mail hauberk or something else of mail like this, you do need to know exactly which mail you're ordering. And the easiest way to get yourself a mail hauberk to your own desires, to your own measurements and such, is to buy it, which I'm doing as well, and then buy another bag of rivets. They mostly come in a 1 kilogram bag. Do be very careful that it is the same thickness, the same inner diameter, and even the same color. And of course the same rivets, so no wedge rivets if you're ordering a round rivet one and vice versa. Ordering a harbug will save you a lot of time, because this is something like you've never seen before. The amount of patience that goes into making something as small as this. Well, this took me so many hours to make it, it's ridiculous. So comparing the two males I have here, the two types of male of course, not the males. No. We first, the blackened ones, inner diameter 9 millimeters, thickness of 3/4 of a millimeter, and these 1.8 millimeters in thickness and 8 millimeters of inner diameter. If I keep using these, I'll be finished a little bit earlier because they are bigger. So yeah, in that way I'll be more quickly done. But it'll just be a difference of maybe an hour on a work that takes hundreds of hours. So if I look at these, 1.8 millimeters in thickness, they are not as easy to bend as these. So these are more protective, and popping in rivets will probably be a bit easier, because of the thickness of these, the 3/4 of a millimeter thickness of these. Whenever you want to pop in a rivet, like so, and you want to squeeze it with the pliers, it's gonna go like this, and you don't want that, because that will make your life much more difficult. You want to have it on straight like this, get a rivet in, and make sure on either side it has the same amount of metal sticking out. That's the best way. So yeah, the male aside, what else do you need? Well, first of all, patience. A lot of patience, a lot of time. You do not realize how much work it is till you actually try it. Because if you just look at it from a distance, it's like, yeah, that's difficult to make, that's tough. But yeah, sure. But then you really make it, and then you're like, what have I gotten myself into? Yeah, that's the general question I ask myself every day when looking at all of this. So yeah, what do you need? A setup like this, because you don't want to damage the table. A pair of pliers. These are better than gardening pliers because, well, this is smooth. And if you have gardening pliers, they're serrated a bit. So you have a bigger chance of also indenting your rings with the gardening pliers. And you don't want that. You don't want those stripes on there. You just want them to remain as beautiful as they are now. Then you need, for the rivets, one plier. Or is it still a pair of pliers? I don't even know. These are for round rivets. This is also by Ulfbud. These are also by Ulfbud. And this works very good. You can also hammer it down, but it'll take way more time, and yeah, just don't. If you want to have wedge rivets, you will need these. I still don't know exactly how they work. I tried them on round rivets and they don't work at all. So yes, this is only for wedge rivets. It also comes with a notch right here. I don't think you can see it that well. Yeah, you can see it. I don't know which one was the manufacturer of this. Could have also been Ulfbud. So yeah, those. And then we've got these. This is for whenever you make a fuck up or if you want to make the rivets a little bit shorter. This is the brand Werkman, and this costs me €2 at the Action. So yeah, it doesn't need to be expensive. This has gone through a lot of rings, a lot of rivets, and it still works perfectly. €2. So yeah, these are well, again against the €20. This one as well, and I believe this one as well. So then you've got your setup here, and then you need a plan. What do I want to do with my mail? Do I want to, like I did, make something like this, head protection, a coif, gauntlets, a hauberk? You can go anywhere you want with mail, and that's the beauty of it. Do you want to make mail protection for your legs? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Nothing that stops you, because it is such a flexible armor, and it's so widely used with maybe short sleeves, maybe long sleeves, something like that. So yeah, suggest if you want to make something like this, you do need to manipulate the mail. And what I mean by that is you have the 4-in-1 pattern, which is one ring and 4 rings are inside that one ring. Now you can manipulate the mail by using expansions and contractions. So an expansion is also a contraction, but it depends on which way you look at it. If I put 2 pieces of mail like this, and I want them to acquire the shape of going like this, a little bit outward, you want to place a mail ring in between their extra. That's the main focus of an expansion or a contraction. So if you go like this, that way, it's an expansion. But if you look at it that way, it's a contraction. It's very simple actually, but you do need to know which way you want to go. So if you want to use an expansion, you can do it on 2 ways. So I've got my little patch right here, and I've got here a bigger patch. Now first I'm gonna make this one longer so you can also see how that works. So in this case I want to make it more long that way. So get yourself a ring that is opened already, or opened yourself, doesn't matter, and then take 2 pre-riveted rings like these. Just get them in there, no much thought about it, close the ring and get yourself a rivet in. Pulling it up like this in the air is pretty much mandatory, because else it just doesn't work that well. So get yourself a rivet in, like so. And with the pliers, I'm not using the notches on the pliers. There are 2 little notches in there. I don't know if you can see them that well, but all I use is actually the inside of the pliers, and in this case I don't use the notches because it is escaping a little bit. Then just squeeze 10,000 times, and look at the result you've got here. Still not satisfied, you do want it to be as smooth as possible. And this is also the reason why I cut a lot of my rivets, because it makes this process easier. This is the longest process of it all. Now the rivet is in and it doesn't break. Do note, if you do put in a shorter rivet when you have broken off the head of it, the chance of an actual spear getting in and breaking the ring may be a bit bigger, it may also be not that much bigger, but I do think that the rivets come like these big stumpy things for a reason. Like this thing right here. It has the shaft in the head, let's call it that. Do not make it sexual, please. Okay, so now I've expanded this patch a bit. Now to explain what an expansion means. So, you want to put these two together. You then look at which way the rings are going. They're going, in this case, they're going like so, but this one is going like so. So what do? Just make sure that it will fit. So I flipped it over. The rings are still going the same direction. That's common. No, that's the only thing that actually happens. So what do you want to do? Pull it over like this, maybe. Hey, look at this. So, this way you can get yourself some rings in and just start getting it all together. Do be careful. Now the rings are laying correctly, but it could also happen that one is like this, or like two of them are like that. If that happens and you put a ring in it, then yeah, you'll need to break the ring, because this doesn't work. Get them the correct way, like this. So, getting them attached with an expansion. So an expansion that way. Then you put in a ring right here. Like so. I'm not gonna fasten it with a rivet, because, well, I don't need this to be expanded. Right now it's just a normal, still the normal pattern. Yes, this is a mess, but as you can see, this is now fastened. And now you can work your way to the top. But using an expansion, you get another ring. Oh wait, this is the Ulfbird one. Yeah. So, get yourself another ring, open it, and just put here another ring. So, what I just did, by adding that little one ring over here, is the next ring that needs to be fitted needs to be again in the same pattern, so 4 in 1. So here comes a ring and here comes a ring, whereas normally there would only be one ring to fasten the both ends together. So you make from one ring 2 rings, if that makes any sense. So now, at first, only one ring, right? To fasten the both sides. Now, if here one ring, and another one. Like so. And as you can see, it tends to make a little triangle. like this side wants to, this one is going straight and this one is going like this now. That's the whole point of a expansion or contraction. Now this is one way. You can also have it another way. So let's say this pattern, I want to make a expansion or contraction that way. So this is, if you already have a piece like this is very easy to accomplish by opening a ring, looking for the outer ring, and you can notice it's an outer ring because it doesn't have 4 rings in it. It only has 2. So like this, and then instead of putting it in here and the neighboring one, go all the way over here. So you actually skip that ring. But what's the effect of this? It's actually the same effect as this one. It makes 2 rings go to 1 ring. So that way it's a contraction, that way it's an expansion. Really easy, right? The only thing is because it makes such a distance for 1 ring to travel, it is a bigger expansion or contraction than this one. Making an armpit, you are able to use both expansions or contractions. Just do your research and you'll find which one is best suited for you. But those are the difficult ones. You see some people that take a patch like this, like a triangle, and the rings go in that pattern. So it's very easy to expand it. So more rings in there and it makes that shape. But you can also do it like this. I did right here, and then you can also still make a triangle, but you don't need to put in another grain in there. So the rings are still facing the same way. That's also how I'm making my armpit, because actually the piece I'm using right here is my piece for my shoulder. Well, now onto this, because you might be wondering about this. How did I do the male like this? Well, if you're looking at this, all of it is just regular 4-in-1 right here. It's a big helmet, so getting it on top of my head, no problem. If you do make it all 4-in-1 all around, like in a coif or something like that, and you do contract it going downward, so you get this, you'll have trouble fitting your neck in it. So for things like that that go over your head, you can contract or expand as you want, but do know that you at some point need to pull it over your head. Now, if you look at this, you can see it goes like this. So how did I accomplish that? Well, I grab myself a piece of paper, just regular piece of paper, and I grabbed the helmet, and I was like, what's the angle of it? And then I folded the piece of paper, and I think, yeah, that's about right. Then you put this like so, and then you add the male on top like this, and then you immediately see which angle your expansions need to make. So that's a very easy way. Now, how did I actually expand them? Now, as you can see, the grain is going that way. So I needed to expand the big expansions. I put one right here. You cannot see that because of the camera, but here is one, and I believe here is one as well. And just going believe I used 2 of those expansions. And then here we also have, going that way, obviously a contraction. That's to make the angle even a bit more. So I started off going that way. It would normally go that way. I went like that. Made sure it tilted a bit in that regard. And then the rest is over here. There's normal, just like this one. This is also a normal one. This is also a normal contraction, going that way. This is to get the shape of it going towards my head. I can still put my head in it because it's large enough, and this way it gets closer to my throat, which I obviously want to be decently protected, so that's why I did it. So this way you can also manipulate the entire shape by using those contractions and such, because else it would just be flopping down like this and it wouldn't look as good as it does now. The rest of it, this is touching my shoulders at this length. I want to let it go over my shoulders. So how I'm gonna approach that is I'll use like this, small patches of mail, like 6 wide or something. Pick a number, 7, 6, 8, maybe 10. 10 may be too big, but just make those patches, make them long, make multiple of them, and then attach them right here. Just attach them at the top, and then just see how much space is in between them, and adjust your expansions to it, because if you do want to, when you attach them on the sides, you obviously need expansions because you want to let it go round. At the front, obviously it just drips down like this, so that's why this is also a bit longer at the front, because it doesn't need that much over there. Just go straight down, and then at one point I do make it expand a bit, so it does fit the curvature very well. It does sound a bit difficult right now, doesn't it? Huh. There's not actually an easier way of explaining this. As you saw in the video of me attaching the little bit with the rivet in it, with butted mail it's the same process, exactly the same process. Everything like this is the same process, instead you don't put a rivet in it. And that's, you think, that's the easiest way. But if you then come to a reenactment and you only have butted mail, and everyone else is wearing riveted mail, which is historically correct, and then you're walking over there with that shiny, cheap mail, then you might as well think, well, I shouldn't have bought it at all. Gambison or Ackerton is still plenty protection enough, and still people wore them without any mail over them. So yeah. So to end the consumer advice, if I would pick out a bit of mail like this, loosely packed, do get this from Ulfbert. I don't know if they also ship to the United States or something. I got it from a website, CelticWebMerchant.com. It's a Dutch site. It offers a great abundance of items for sale, good stuff. I do see a lot of Dipika, but Dipika is everywhere. But Ulfbert is on there, Martial Historical is on there, good stuff. Dipika, don't get me wrong about Dipika, they do have a big abundance of stuff. It's very popular, I do see that, and in the end it's just you get what you pay for. So if you're looking for a great helm and you don't want to spend more than 150 euros, then go to Dipika, they offer that. to you. Other producers don't offer that kind of cheapness, and if you just want to use it once or twice or something like that, yeah, sure, the Pika is fine. Over the long term, I do prefer stuff that is a little bit more expensive, but for me it's worth that extra 10, 20, 30 euros, because you get just so much more out of it. But that's with most things. This stuff, 1 kilogram, 1.8 millimeter round riveted 8 millimeter inner diameter rings. This cost me 26 euros. That is not expensive at all for this type of mail. This blackened stuff cost me 46 euros the kilo. Now, do granted that these rings are thinner, so you get a little bit more out of 1 kilogram than this. But looking at this is very, you can see it is very well made, because here sometimes the holes for the rivets are not that well placed, like they are placed in the edge of a drilled altogether. 46 euros stuff. It's black, that's the good thing. That's also why it's expensive, I believe. But a lot of it is misdrilled, and that results in a lot I can throw away. This is my disposable bin. And here, if I look at this, well, I grabbed some rings before and haven't seen one single ring misriveted or misdrilled, I believe. So right now, inspecting them, all seems fine. Yeah, sure. So, good stuff. I did notice some wedge rivet rings in there, but Riveted makes them too, so yeah, logical that they are also mixed in there. This has been quite a promotional video for Riveted, hasn't it? Yeah. Okay. The sources are the main manufacturers, the Pika, Riveted, Melchior Historical, all that sort of stuff. The places you can buy them are like celticweapon.com or dragonart.nl or com, I don't even know. Or Cult of Athena is very popular in foreign countries. Or battlemerchant.com, I believe. So yeah, these are the places you can get them the easiest. Or a blacksmith. Like in Poland there's one, Kopczynski, he made this helmet, but he also told me, like, do you want mail on there? And I'm like, nah, I'm making it myself, man. And he's like, yeah, sure. And he gave me a great helmet. It looks very good. So yeah, that's also a way, but he does use mail as well, so you can get also mail from like those people. You just need to look around. Maybe there's someone in close to you that makes mail. I suggest dropping by him first, and then you can compare it to big manufacturers. You can see on those sites like Cult of Athena or something like that. So, more there is not to say about this subject, I believe. So yeah, let's end the video there. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something today that can make you, or that can help you pick out your suit of mail, or if you want to make your own, of course. I hope some things of value were said in this video, and I'll leave it at that. So have a great day and goodbye.